Hello and welcome to another video. In this one, we're going to do the cost comparison between the old skill tree system and the new skill tree system. We're going to look at stuff such as, under the old skill tree system, you would get certain bonuses for mastering your mech. How much does it cost to get those under the new system? You could previously buy modules that would be weapon modules or mech modules that would give you special effects. How much does it take to get those effects back? And also just the general, how much does the system cost in order for you to fully spec out a mech, the refunding costs, the reapplying costs, and just basically talk about the economy. How much time and effort do you have to put in compared to the old system? But first, let's define a couple things with the old system so that everything is on the same page. Because I noticed some people using some numbers that I don't think are fair to compare with. The old system, you needed basic, elite, and master on a mech in order to fully spec it out. Mastering a single mech was 57,250 experience. However, because there was the rule of 3, you needed more mechs and you needed more experience. If it was the first time you had mastered a mech on your account, you need 128,750. This is because of the rules of 3s and how they worked. You needed to get, when you wanted to go to elite, you needed 3 mechs at basic. When you wanted to go to master, you needed 3 mechs at elite. So that 128,000 is 2 mechs at elite and 1 mech at master. However, once you've done that, you already have the mechs at elite. You don't need to re-get them. So a subsequent master would be 2 mechs at basic and 1 to master, which is 85,750. So those 3 numbers. A mech by itself, 57,000. The first time master, 128,000. And a subsequent master, 85,000. So we're going to be using those as comparisons for the different systems. Alright, moving on. Skill tree, in the old sense, gave you bonuses. They didn't show up in the quirk list, but there were bonuses. You had acceleration, you had deceleration, you had weapon cooldown, you had heat dissipation, you had a whole bunch of stuff. What I've gone and do on this Kodiak 3 here, is we pop into its skill tree, is I've tried my best to recreate those bonuses that you got from that system. So we'll pop over here into mobility, and this is what I've come up with. It's taken 54 points in order to get things as close as I can. Now, some things are higher, some things are new, and some things are lower. We're just going to go over that real quick here. Some of the things that were 5% before are now like 4 and 6. Arm speed used to be 5%, now it's 40, just because we had to go through a bunch of arm speed nodes in order to fully unlock the benefits we wanted. Interestingly, let's see, dissipation, heat dissipation, and max heat capacity are lower than they were before. So heat dissipation is now 10%, where previously we could have gotten that dissipation to 15% through the skill tree system. And there should be some, max heat here, 15% under the new, and under the old was 20%. So overall, there's actually going to be a little bit of a decrease in heat dissipation, heat capacity across all mechs. But again, this is as close as I could get to the old values. This took 54 points, but I didn't get fast fire. That's the weapon cooldown minus 5%, and that works on every single weapon type. There isn't something that is directly relatable here. If we wanted to do that, we would have to go to a particular weapon, say here in autocannons, and it would take us 10 points in order to unlock cooldowns. Like so. So I have the difference, and I said 60 points. To get the previous strength of the old system, it takes 60 of your 91 points, approximately. So that's 6 million C-bills and 90,000 experience. So to comparing that to the old system, it's like a subsequent master, because that took 85,000 experience. 85,000 and 90,000, it's actually not that bad comparatively. When you compare it against just a single mech being mastered out, yeah, it's much worse. The 90,000 is way more than the 57,000, and there's just more experience being used. In the previous system, there was no C-bill cost. So the C-bill cost is here. It's just new and it's just more. But it depends on the situation, because I think the Kodiak here is a really good example. I think no one can argue that the Kodiak 3 is the best Kodiak. Like, you can't argue against that. So why would you ever want to buy any other Kodiaks? Well, because you want to master out your Kodiak 3. Under the old system, you would have to do, most likely did, a subsequent master or a first-time master. So that's 85,000 or 128,000 experience. You would also have to spend money on buying those Kodiaks, equipping them, and running them for those durations. While you could recoup some of the costs, that was a cost. You had to buy those extra mechs. Theoretically, in the situation of where you only want a single mech from a chassis, the old system and the new system are actually about the same cost. Because the money that you would spend, like the money and experience that you would spend speccing out the other mechs, the other two besides the one you want, are now being brought into the new system. Yeah, you could argue different things back and forth and exactly how much it costs, but I'm saying that those are about the same. A subsequent master of 85K and the new master of 90K, and the 6 million C-bills could be easily compensated for by not having to buy the other mechs. But that is only for the situation that you only want one of that chassis. Say this is something like Warhammers. You want to have all the Warhammers because Warhammers are great. You want to have your Black Widow, so that's a hero. You'd have to spend MC for that. But say you wanted your Warhammer with ballistics and the one with energy and all the fun things because Warhammers are awesome. You're going to have to pay the equivalent of what would be on the old system, 3 mechs worth of stuff for that one mech. So your costs are going to go way higher for people who want multiple variants of a single chassis to be fully upgraded. The old system would allow them to be upgraded with just the C-bill, just the XP costs, and the C-bills we put towards the mechs themselves. So yeah, that's where this system is going to be bad. It's against people who want those multiple different variants of a single chassis and all of them fully upgraded. But yeah, let's move on from that. That's the amount of that's for the skill tree of the old system, the benefits it gave you. But let's talk about specific modules, and we'll look at weapon modules first. Let me just revert these changes real quick. We'll look at ultra autocannons as an example. There's different levels. They're kind of like tiers. On the cheapest tier, we have things like range, velocity, duration, and Gauss extended charge. The expensive tier, like the next one up, is weapon cooldowns and Gauss range. Gauss is just interesting. It's always off by 1. And then the more expensive tier, tier 3 sort of thing, is UAC jam chance, weapon heat, projectile speed, spread, and Gauss cooldown. So they're the more powerful weapon mods in that sense. So I can definitely see that. Like weapon heat makes you more heat efficient, makes you more just able to put out more damage. Projectile spread puts more damage in one location. UAC jam chance increases your damage. These are all things that just basically increase your damage by flat. It actually gets cheaper the more you go up in the nodes. So say we want velocity. We're looking at our ultra autocannons here. Okay, it's real easy. Just take velocity. Only costs you 5 nodes. 500,000 experience. 500,000 C-bills, 7,500 experience. In the past, purchasing that module cost you 3 million C-bills and 5,000 experience. However, that 5,000 experience was a one-time purchase, where for any mech that wants these bonuses has to pay 7,500 experience in the future. Also, under the old system, you had a lot more mobility with that benefit. This new system is very static. You purchase it on this mech, and it's on this mech. The old system, you paid a higher upfront cost, but if you got a general module like something cooldown or like medium laser range, that's used on so many mechs, you can take it off a mech that you're not playing anymore and put it on a mech that you are playing or you're trying out. You can go to your favorite meta mech that's all set up properly, and you want to try out a new thing on a new mech that you just got. You can strip its modules and put it on something else. It's a big cost saver. That's all what a lot of people are doing. You can do the same thing with like your engines on battle mechs. That's where this cost difference is going to come up. If you do that, this new system will be costly if you have more than 6 mechs that you do that with, because the cost here is 500,000. It's 1/6 of getting that normally on another mech. So if you wanted UAC velocity on 6 mechs, you could either buy it once under the new system and transfer it around, or buy it 6 times under the new system, and the C-bill costs are the same then. The thing is when you have more than 6. So when you go 7, 8, 9, 10 going up, you're going to pay more C-bills under the new system. And then guaranteed, no matter what, you're always paying more XP under the new system for anything here. Because previously it was a one-time cost to unlock it, where here it is every single time you're going to have to pay XP on that particular mech. The next level up is more expensive. It takes about 10 nodes to get these, but you get the previous one. Like the only way I can get to cooldown, so if I reset this, the only way I can get the 5 cooldown nodes out of here is if I go down velocity. So I have to go down velocity first, then I can go down cooldown and unlock those. It's going to cost me $1 million. But that $1 million gives me both velocity and cooldown. So it's not like cooldown itself costs $1 million. It's interesting, but you basically have to step up the tiers. You can't go directly to cooldown for 500,000. You have to invest $1 million. And then if you want to go further, say, get the next one here, which would be range. It's another 500,000. And then the next one after that would be jam chance, would be another 500,000 for the full 2 million to fully unlock this tree. All right, so that's weapon ranges and weapon modules and stuff like that. Also, interestingly, the values before, the range was 10% and that kind of stuff. Velocity is new. Jam chance for being able to get it in module form doesn't exist, so this is new. This is a benefit. But the cooldown was 12% previously. It's only 4% under the new system. So when you look at cooldown particularly, under the old system, you could get it for 3 million C-bills. The new system, it's that 500,000 tier, but it's only like 1/3 of its effectiveness. So it's like it costs 3 times more, you know what I mean? And it's interesting that way. Next thing is mech modules. And similar to the weapon modules, because this is sort of a network and things feed off of each other and become child nodes and such like that, so that they all work together, things are cheaper when you get them as a group, but to get them by themselves, seismic sensor takes 12 nodes. So it's all under sensors here. We go down the seismic route, it takes this one over here, and then down the left side, where's seismic? There it is. Straight down there. 12 nodes. So it gives you 200 meters seismic range, which is actually weaker than before. Before it was 250 meters. This costs 1.2 million C-bills to get, where in the previously it cost 6 million C-bills. So much cheaper C-bill cost. But again, like I said, if you have more than like 5 or 6 mechs that you would have swapped these around to actively, then it's going to be paying more under the new system. And then old system was 17,500 one-time purchase. This is an 18,000 every time purchase. So again, XP costs going up. Radar deprivation. To get the full benefits, we'd have to go down this way. And then, oh, no, I need that one, but get these ones. There we go. 16 nodes. So exact same benefit, 100% less radar depth. 1.6 million compared to old 1.6 million compared to old 6 million. 15,000 in the past for the one-time purchase, but now 24,000 for an every-time purchase. Target decay is actually extremely cheap. Target decay is the amount that you can hold a mech before it goes behind cover. Target decay you can just do with 4 because it gives you plus 1.4 seconds over here. The previously was 1.5 seconds and it was 6 million C-bills and it was 12,500 experience one time. And the new one is 1.4 seconds. It's slightly weaker, but it's basically the same. 400,000 C-bills and 6,000 experience. So much cheaper for some of these less used ones. Like the seismic sensor and the radar deprivation, they hid basically right at the bottom of here. So it would be more expensive to get to them. Where the easier things like the target info gathering, the target retention, that kind of stuff, they put at the very top of here. So it's much cheaper to get to them. But you can actually push this one quite far. If we go down this route, down the right side, we can get that target decay, and that target decay. We can actually get plus 3.5 seconds, which is a ridiculous amount of time. It takes your total to like 5.5 seconds, the amount of time you can hold a target after it goes behind cover, and it costs 1 million C-bills and 15,000 experience. Now, interestingly, and I'll talk more about the balance implications of this in the future, ECM is also part of this tree. It takes, 13 nodes, and I won't be able to fully unlock this because I don't have ECM on this mech. But here we go, 11 nodes, then I would need another 2 to get these ECM, but you could only do that on mechs with ECM. Hover over it, you can see it's locked just because this mech doesn't have ECM on it. They made the change to ECM with this PTS where it's only minus 30% instead of minus 75. And if you want the other 45%, you have to get these 2 nodes. So you can get the full benefit of your minus 75% radar from your ECM, where in the past it cost 0 C-bills and 0 XP. Now it's costing you 1.3 million C-bills and 19,500 experience. Now this is basically every single ECM mech is going to be more costly in order to get the same benefit that they currently have. Now, of course, all of these use similar nodes, so if we want to just get everything, get all the radar depths and all the seismic sensors and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't take that much more. It would be 21 points in total because there's the 2 ECM that are missing. So that'd be 2.1 million C-bills to get everything. So the individual costs are actually reduced in that sense. You can get the benefits of like 6 million C-bill modules in 2.1. That makes the cost effectiveness a little bit better in that sense. You can go more mechs before having, like I said before, with the weapon modules and stuff, you can maybe get about 6 mechs before swapping around under the old system was more cost effective. This you could probably go a bit further, maybe out to 10 mechs or something like that, before it becomes more cost effective to use the old version. So at least that's good, because they can borrow each other's nodes. But yeah, moving on from there, let's just talk about the general costs of the system, how much it costs for a particular node, the respecking costs, all that kind of stuff. So under the new system, it's 100,000 C-bills and 1,500 experience for each node. You can spend that through GXP or Mech XP or whatever you want. It would cost you 9.1 million C-bills to fully max out your mech. And what is it? Got my numbers here somewhere. I got a whole bunch of pieces of paper I wrote down stuff on. 136,500 experience. I'm maybe okay with these values. but only under a very specific thing. And I'll tell you that in just a moment here. Why I would be okay with these values is if they made them permanent. Because what happens now is, say I save this. It costs me 19 points. I'll just get one more, so it's around 2 million, so it's easy to look at. 20 points. Boom. Apply changes. All right, that cost me 30,000 experience. I can refund these now if I don't want these. Say I don't need these benefits. I most likely will because it's, you know, radar depth and that kind of stuff. But let's refund it. We can either refund it for a small amount of MC, only 10 MC per point. Let's just revert that change. Or we can refund it for 25,000 C-bills per point. So we can refund all of those, cost us 2 million to buy, for 1/4 of the price, 500,000. We get all of our XP back. That is great. That was one of the first things that they were talking about, being like, oh, maybe only get like 75% back because, you know, it'll be like an XP sink, so because, you know, we just, for reasons. They're making it so you get everything back. That's really good, because I had fears in the future where if you wanted to experiment, you just finished off your 91 points, you reset your tree and redid it again, you'd only have like 75 points to work with, 80 points, because you would lose some experience. They've changed that. You get all the experience back. So if you are just working on a mech and you have 10 points on it and you want to respec those 10 points, you still get 10 points afterwards. That's great. However, the costs are too high to do the respecking. I'm okay with the cost of the respec. 25,000 C-bills is actually not that much for the average player. Maybe a weaker player that wasn't getting much per match, that would be a little bit of a painful cost. But a lot of this stuff you're not going to respec. Like, once you've done this to your lower chassis or this to your upper chassis, you probably even want to take some of these increased yaw stuff and more. You never have to respec these. They're always going to be there. You're never going to respec speed tweak. So once you've bought them, you'll never have to respec them. I'm okay with this respec cost because I only see it being done for small quantities of nodes, like 20 to 50, because you would want to respec maybe sensors, well, maybe like one thing, like 20 points out of something over here, and then 30 points out of a firepower tree or something like that. What I don't like is after we respec these, we refund that XP and we pay that cost. If I wanted to get back the exact same nodes, I have to pay again for it. I have to pay that 2 million C-bills again. That is very painful, because if I wanted to say, try something, I wanted to go from, you know, normal autocannons, or say you wanted to have the 4 LBX 10s on the Kodiak, which is a fun build. You want to get your LBX autocannons. We'll just revert those changes real quick. All right, well, let's just get the LBX autocannons. It's going to take us some quantity of money because, you know, we have to get all these nodes. All right, we're almost done. There, 2 million C-bills. All right, we paid our 2 million and we purchased those. Now, but we don't want to try. We played the LBX. We don't really like it. Let's try the autocannon design, the Ultra. Okay, well, we have to refund, apply those changes. We have to rebuy over here. Oh, it's going to cost us another 2 million. It's going to completely destroy people's want to create with a mech, because they're going to have to spend inordinate amounts of money. They're going to have to play all night just to change their mech from one weapon type to another weapon type. It needs to be changed. I personally would be okay with a high upfront cost if reapplying was free. Have a small cost to respec, but reapplying needs to be free. Or reapplying needs to be really cheap and buying needs to be cheaper in order to compensate. But best thing for me would be that reapplying is free. And there's no way that this system was going to encourage people to have build diversity or experimentation if they're being taxed every single time they make a change to their mech. It's going to be painful for them. And I mean, I personally would be okay with the 100,000 per node. I can afford it, but I'm space rich. I play the game far too much, and I have a ridiculous quantity of money, and I'm going to have a ridiculous return from my module investments. Sounds like I'm like a I'm like a stockbroker. I'm going to get a great return on my module investments this year. The average new player is going to be stifled by the 100,000, I think. Sure, it's about maybe a match. A match, maybe like you could get a point or a point and a half every match, like 100,000, 150,000. They have a great match, 200,000. But they're basically going to be locked in to upgrading that mech for what? If they get 200,000 everything, it's going to be like 50 matches, 50, 60, 70 matches, somewhere in that range. If they're bad, it's going to take up to like 100 matches to fully spec out a mech. Now you have to ask yourself, how long does it take a person to play that many matches? With the average player, like a completely mediocre player that is a casual gamer that is playing 1 hour a night and maybe 2 hours a night on the weekends, it's going to be like, 9-10 hours a week. Just say 10 hours a week. How often will they be able to build up enough money to buy a new mech? I think that they're going to get bored with the game because they're just going to get one mech and they're going to play it for months to upgrade their mech completely. And then they're going to finally buy another one just to do it again. And it's going to be very painful. They're going to have a huge grind. That's why I think these costs should come down. Like, when you look at it compared to the old system, it would cost like 18 million to fully do a mech. 2 mech modules and 2 weapon modules. So the 9.1 I can see, that's why I'm slightly okay with it. It's just difficult. I think the average player will have difficulty with it. Although there is one great thing about it. Where previously it was like 6 million investment. It was a huge thing, upfront cost, and you had to save a whole bunch for it. Under the new system, every single match you get a little bit of a cookie. You know what I mean? You play that match, you get a point. Yeah, you're making progress. Which is good. I think that's better for the player. Like I said before, I'm okay with 100,000. I think it might be stifling for some players. But you better make respecking free. But anyway, I think that's it for me. This video is probably long enough. The next video will be about balance issues. How the skill tree is going to damage some parts of balance, specifically for mixing weapon groups and mixing types of weapons, and very particular nodes, such as in the survival. The skeletal density and armor hardening and stuff like that is not going to encourage mechs on the lower end of their weight classes. But that'll be it for now. Thanks for watching, and good hunting.